Okay, going to read some more of Murderous Maths. Some useful stuff. Although there are millions of questions in maths, you can answer most of them with one or more of the following things: arithmetrics, formulas, pi, Pythopower, devious thinking. There are also a few optional extras that will help: random hair, an orange nylon shirt, half a cheese and chutney sandwich in your pocket that's been through the wash, undone shoelaces. We'll work through the list and see how each of these things can help us. Arithmetrics. We've already sorted out Binky's piano with a bit of arithmetic. Even though we only did a spot of multiplying, it gave us some really evil answers. It's amazing what you can do with just plus, minus, times and divide. And if you want to check how they all work, you'll find them explained in Murderous Maths' awesome arithmetic tricks. However, we've saved a few special arithmetrics for this book. Can I divide everybody in the world into football teams? That depends on how many people there are. Let's say there are exactly... let's use the American billion. 6,794,703,256. There are 11 players on the football team, you need to know if this number divides by 11. Here's the trick. You go along the number putting in minus and plus signs alternately. You get 6 minus 7 plus 9 minus 4 plus 7 minus 0 plus 3 minus 2 plus 5 minus 6. Now you work it out. You might find it easier to separate all the plus and minus bits first. Remember that each sign sticks with a number that comes after it. If you combine all the plus bits and all the minus bits, you get 30 minus 19 equals 11. If the answer is 0 or divides exactly by 11, then the number will divide by 11 too. The answer here is 11, so obviously it divides by 11. That means 6,794,703,256 will also divide by 11. Even better news, 6,794,703,256 is an even number, so it divides by 2. That means you can have an even number of teams so everybody can play at once. But just a minute, what's this? Wah! Oh no, one extra person has just turned up. Actually, maybe that's not such a bad thing, because we ought to have at least one referee. Give that baby a whistle and a bit of respect. What is the easiest times table to learn? This is one of the questions that our pure mathematicians have been investigating down in the Murderous Maths Research Department. The 11 times table is easy, 10 times is better. I like the 1 times table. How about the 0 times table? Obviously, there's a bit of disagreement here, but you can always trust our pure mathematicians to discuss these matters in a responsible, intelligent way. No way, it's 11, but 1 is too easy. What's the point of 0 anyway? Oof. Sorry about that. It looks like you'll just have to make up your own mind whether the easiest times table is 0, 1, 10 or 11. Or it could be the 1089 times table. 1089? 1 times 1089 is 1089. 2 times 1089 is 2178. 3 times 1089 is 3267, etc. It seems like it should be evil until you look down the answers. The numbers in the first column go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now look at the other columns. The really odd one is 9 times 1089. It turns backwards. Ooh. What do you mean it turns backwards? It doesn't turn backwards. Oh, it turns the number 1089 backwards. I see. Yeah, interesting. Although the 1089 times table is easy to learn, it's a bit useless unless you happen to be buying lots of things that cost $10.89 or £10.89. However, there is one times table that isn't too tricky, and it's the only one you'll ever need. All will be revealed with our next question. Is there any times table that will multiply any two numbers? Yes, you only need the 2 times table and a trick that's known as the Russian peasant multiplication.
Do you know that?
I do not. Suppose you want to multiply 43 by 87. Write the numbers at the top of 2 columns. Yeah. Keep dividing the number on the left by 2 and write the answers underneath. Ignore any remainders. Put star by any even numbers. Okay, cool. Keep multiplying the number on the right by 2. Okay, multiply that on the right by 2 and write the answers underneath. Cross out any lines with the star. Add up the remaining numbers on the right. Ta-da! That's interesting, isn't it?
Ta-ta!
What's a square root? It's the opposite of squared. It's worth knowing about square roots because they are the secret to using the awesome Pytho power coming soon. If a number is multiplied by itself, that's called squared, and we usually mark it with a little 2. Therefore, 3 squared is 3 to the power of 2, which equals 3 times 3 equals 9. You can also put this square root sign over 9 equals 3. The funny sign means square root, and square root of 9 is asking what number multiplied by itself makes 9. Easy square roots. If a number is called a square, then that means it has a whole number for a square root. For instance, 25 and 64 are both squares because square root of 25 equals 5, square root of 64 equals 8. Evil square roots. Most numbers are not squares, and this makes their square roots very evil. Luckily, calculators usually have a button marked square root, so if you need to work out the square root of 17, you just push 17 and then square root, which gives you the answer 4.1231056. And this decimal will keep on going past the end of the screen and out of the door and down the road and catch the bus to Doncaster if you let it. Hello, what's this? Somebody has put an extra question in. How are you supposed to get square root of 3,806.89 without a calculator? Eh? Ha ha! Oh dear. One way of doing it is to guess and then test your answer. To work out the square root of 3,806.89, you could guess that the square root is 60, then you work out 60 squared equals 3,600. That's a bit small, so you try a bigger guess. How about 62? 62 squared equals 3,844. So that's a bit big. So then you try 61 squared and then you might yawn. Try 61.5 squared and then a big yawn. You might try 61.8 squared, yawn. And what you might get, snore. What's that? It's no good. If you want to get the right answer without guessing, then you have to use one of the mysterious dark powers that schools are terrified of teaching these days. Maybe your granny can remember things like how to turn your brother into a mushroom or how to make snakes come out of the air vents, but that stuff's easy. Square roots are so evil that we'll need to summon Thag, our math-magician. If you're a wizard at sums, here's some real magic for you. You start by writing down the number you want to square root, then put a line over it so your answer can go on top. You then draw a thin line up through the decimal point, and this shows where the decimal point will come in the answer. Next, you put in another thin line to split your number into pairs of digits. When you get round to writing your answer in, you'll just put one digit in each gap. Interesting. To start with, you look at the first pair of digits and see what is the highest square number you can take away from it. Here the first digits are 38, so the highest square number we could take away is 36, which is 6 times 6. This gives us 6 as our first digit in the answer, and we put that on the top line. We also put 36 underneath the 38. We then subtract 38 minus 36 to see the remainder, 2. Now comes the magic bit that nobody can ever remember. You bring down the next pair of digits and tag them onto the end of the remainder. You get the answer you've worked out so far and double it. What? So 6 times 2 equals 12. Then write it down, but you leave one extra space for a new mystery digit. We'll call it star. You now need to work out the new mystery digit. Here we're going to end up multiplying the number by 12, the number 12 star by star. We have to choose the star to be the biggest number we can so that 12 star times star does not go over 206. If we make star into 1, then the sum is 121 times 1 equals 121. This is less than 206, but is 1 the best we can do? Suppose we make star into 2. The sum would be 122 times 2 equals 244, which is bigger than 206, so that's no good. Therefore, star equals 1. Phew! We put the mystery digit 1 into the answer. We also multiply it by 121 and put the answer underneath the 206. Then we subtract it to get the remainder of 85. You'll see we brought down the next two digits, 89. And fix them onto the 85 at the bottom. We take the answer we've worked out so far and double it. That's 61 times 2 equals 122. And write that down, leaving a gap for a new mystery digit. We then work out the biggest number that star can be if 122 star times star isn't going to be over 8,589. It turns out that 1,227 times 7 equals 8,589 exactly. We bang it in, and by the time we've finished, we find we've got no remainder. This means that the square root of 3,806.89 equals 61.7. Wow. Here's what the finished sum looks like. We've been dead lucky here because we got an exact answer with no remainder, so we can stop. If we hadn't been so lucky, then we'd continue to bring down 2 more zeros to sit by the remainder, and then we'd do the magic bit that nobody can ever remember again. If you're loving it, you can keep on bringing down zeros and doing the magic bit over and over again and make a decimal that goes on forever. So is Thag loving it? Hey Granny, how can I make snakes come out of air vents?
That